All right, everybody. So welcome to another episode of The Inquisitive Mind of Louis T. I think this was going to be like episode 6. So as usual, we're going to go around, introduce. I got a wonderful array of guests. So I'm going to start across from me. I'm going to start from my brother from another.
What's up? I'm Bigg B, Brandon Hickman. I'm one of the lead programmers for the North Carolina Black Film Festival.
All right, and then to his left, right?
My name is Christopher Everett. I'm the director and producer of Wilmington on Fire, and also a couple other films that's coming out soon, and also I'm the communications manager with Full Frame Documentary Film Festival.
All right, and then to my left.
Hey everybody, it's Cedric Harrison, City Said, founder and executive director of Support the Port Foundation.
All right. And I'm your host, Louis T. I mean, I'm cool too. I did a little documentary about recovery. I'm trying to get there. But really, the day we got, we're going to chop it up. This is going to be like a normal barbershop conversation, kind of like Inquisitive Mind Louis T normally do. The main topic, one of the things I think Sid kind of sparked this conversation. I went to one of his events where he was screening a movie, as he does, and the question, like, what is a black film? So just kind of like talk about what a black film is to you, us, and then we're going to go through a couple, other topics, but the whole theme today is black cinema. So let's go around. I'm going to start with he sold himself a little bit short, the award-winning director across from us.
Yes, sir.
And like, so what is a black film to you?
Well, to me, I guess a black film is, in the words of Sam Greenlee, the guy that wrote The Spook That Sat by the Door, he would always talk about this, and I kind of follow in line what he was saying is that, black film is written by, financed by, directed by, and distributed by. But, we don't live in that time anymore, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. It's like, to me, I think, financed everything, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, we don't live in those times. So wherever you can get the money to make your film, you do that. You know what I'm saying? Wherever you can show your film, you do that. Yeah. So I think it just varies, man. It's just everyone's opinion. Me, I think at least if it's, made by a black person and distributed by a black person, it's about, the diaspora. I think it's a black film. So it really, like I said, you can probably say that maybe back in the 70s where everything could be by us, but just times has changed. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, because actually me and Sid is kind of what sparked this, because I was at one of his events and he had a very different definition, similar to what you're saying, but I'm not going to speak too much for him, of what a black film is. And I mean, in my mind, I always thought, black movie with black people, either a movie with black people or meant for a black audience as a black movie, but said, I mean, do you remember that conversation?
Yeah, because I have it I didn't have it all the time. I had it all the time when Black Panther first came out. Like black film, when you get to the top of the pyramid, it should be a black person there. That's how I feel about a black film, and that kind of goes back to what he was talking about. I think the top of the pyramid is definitely like, when it comes to finances and distribution. But of course, before you even get to that point, you got to have a black writer, black director. And, I mean, honestly, all of those things can still be in place, and you can have an all-white cast, and that's a black film. That's how I feel. But that's just an opinion,
What about you, Brandon?
Being a programmer, sometimes you're kind of split because you got to look at stories. For example, you look at the top 50 black films, that there's a list that comes out of the sky. Someone makes up a list, or they say, here's the top 50 black films that maybe you should have in your library. And one of them is The Color Purple. But The Color Purple if we go by our standards, how it's distributed and all that stuff, is really a white film because
Spielberg.
Spielberg did that film, but it was about us though. So I'm quite sure he doesn't know our story. So someone had to be some type of advisor or told. Of course, it came from the book itself, but you got to look at, were they telling our story? Did they tell it correctly? And majority of the cast, 99.9% of the cast was African American. So we did eat. It was filmed in Norwood, North Carolina, which is predominantly African American. So we gotta look at those things as well. But was it a black film? That's the question we gotta ask us. Was it, or was it just our story?
See, yeah, it was something like Color Purple. I feel more credence the other way because it's almost a period piece,
right?
So if you're telling a period piece in a period where talking about black people, I don't know. Is that necessarily is history necessarily black or white? I would feel there's more argument with something like that versus how said Black Panther, a movie that's directed by a black person, starring all 98% black people.
Right.
But then again, I guess my argument for me, not necessarily for black people, but is Black Panther a black movie?
I kind of sometimes it's like you can say either or because it's Marvel / Disney's property. You know what I'm saying? Marvel created the character,
right?
In the first place. Two
white
guys,
and Jewish,
exactly. So it's like at the end of the day, Kevin Feige, who kind of runs the whole universe.
Another white male executive.
Yeah. And he, even though they had all black characters, they used a lot of the same formula that they did with Captain America and everything. Because, they have a certain formula they go by.
Yeah, it has to fit that Marvel, that grant, that overarching story, which is funny. A lot of black people didn't even know, well, I'm not going to say black people, there's a lot of people who went to go see Black Panther didn't even know that this was part of a larger connected universe. And that's like for me,
I agree. Yeah. It was an introduction to some people to Marvel.
Yeah.
And what it meant and how he fits inside of this, and how the comic book world is now. My nephew Ike is getting introduced to the comic book world through Black Panther, and he's like, "Oh, this is." I was like, "Yo, it's way deeper than what you really think it is." Here's the actual comic book. You know what I mean? So now it's creating him, I guess, reading a little differently, reading more, just not going to a movie. So now he's very interested in the Marvel Universe, but that sparked it, if I may.
So I feel like it's almost like in a reach, like a stretch, like an attachment for us. You know what I mean? Like we claim a black film because of how we'll accept it, or because of how we'll react to it. You know what I mean? Or because of how it reflects upon us. But is there a gray area when it comes to what would be the definition for a white-owned film?
Yeah, I don't know. Is it? That's like saying white history.
So like, let's not say white. What about Asians? Because they have their own market, their own film, and stuff like that. Because when you say white, especially in America, it's like everything seems white, so it's like everything else. Right. But Asia, like, what about Asian movies?
What is an Asian? What is one?
Iron Man 2, I think, was financed by China. Is that an Asian movie? So, as a matter of fact, let's do some clarification. So, because both Chris and y'all said something about distribution and the company. So, are there distribution houses that are because when you get so high up, those companies seem so big, they almost partly seem colorless, or it's just so big that they automatically seem white because they associate big business with white America.
Oh, pretty much all your major distribution houses are white, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So if you have a film of a certain budget, according to some people's definition, it's no longer a black film.
Yeah, if you're going off of just distribution, you know what I'm saying? But, like with my company, Speller Street, we kind of do distribution as well. Like we distribute like 3 other films, but the cost of distributing a film is just so much. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's just tough for, our people to really get a grasp of it. You know what I'm saying? Like if we do distribution, it has to be like on a grassroots level. But if you're trying to do like putting your film in like every market, you got to have $100 million. You know what I'm saying? Wow. Just on top, just per project. You know what I mean? That's advertising just to run a Super Bowl ad. The low price probably gonna be like 1.5 million. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. 30 seconds.
Yeah. So it's like just the distribution includes the marketing as well, and you need big dollars. And the majority of your distributors, man, are white.
I mean, but to be honest, one of the reasons why I was so confident in saying like that's the reason why like I stand strong by saying this is what defines a black film and what defines a white film because I fully respect you for your company with Speller Street Films because I actually feel like what it's going to do is I feel it's going to challenge the industry just kind of compared to like music. With hip hop artists, like with 360 deals, you know what I mean. We couldn't never own our music. We couldn't own our music, and now you're seeing artists coming to the table, making deals with major distribution industry, shareholders, and they're actually now like still owning their stuff, and so that would be the level. Like that's like a middle ground that I feel like would be a level where I could like that's a black film. Okay, they made a deal with a major distribution company, but they still own their rights.
It's more like a partnership type.
Exactly, like a partnership. And that's really the thing that makes me define it. Like when it starts coming to like, okay, if I want something from this film and I have to get it signed off, who do I have to sit in front of to get it signed off? You know what I mean? All these black actors in the Black Panther, this film that, gets everybody hype about it, and all of this music and culture is coming out of it. But then if we want to go get like a sample from the movie or something like that, we gotta go sit with somebody that's from outside of the culture to sign off on it.
Well, I mean, first of all, you don't get no disagreement about Black Panther. Like for me, because I was going to see that because that was just like I'm going to go see. I want to go see Captain Marvel. And I'm going to go see like all the other.
I'm a comic book guy too, man.
I keep forgetting how you're, like. So I mean, with that, but like, what about movies like like Black Klansman, black movie?
See, so this is sad for me because it's not, and it hurts me because it's Spike, and so for me to see somebody like Spike come up from all the way,
and Jordan Peele was the producer on
it's
that.
based off a book, right? Off the guy, the real life,
that's true.
But just off of me watching Spike Lee and like it hurts just to know that dang, Spike don't own his stuff by now, like, and he just getting the Oscar now, like all of those things I feel like will open up the doors to this conversation right now about what we're talking about ownership of black film, because that was a problem. Like, Spike Lee won, but then he lost in the other nominee against Green Book, and the conversation that they're having about that, you know. So
what's the conversation?
Well, it's sad that in this day and time where we felt like we've progressed as an American country, that a book about a racial reconciliation fantasy still overpowers the truth about a racial actual historical time and moment.
Right.
So hold on. So the Green Book, I thought that's not based on real life.
It's based on real life, but it's a fantasy for white folks watching it. It's like it's a racial reconciliation fantasy. Like, all right, so Driving Miss Daisy was saying we could bring an end to race by having this conversation with this black man, this white woman. Right. And now the Green Book is like, we can end race by having this conversation with the black man, white man, but now the black person pays you to learn how to, you know what I'm saying, to learn how to end it. Learn and be educated on how to, go about addressing or interacting with black people or whatever.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if we could go back to talk about Spike, because when Spike started, he depleted all the credit cards that he had when he first started. She's Gotta Have It and some other films.
You Do the Right Thing.
Right. And you're talking about being filmed on the block he's from. Mm-hmm. So you're talking about the beginnings of him is all black, is distributed, pretty much by him. She's Gotta Have It. And then, when we get to the theatrical releases, of course, he got to go to the big houses to get distribution. Yeah. When he goes for a major theatrical release, he at that time, he has to do that. Yeah. But the beginning of it, if you look at it, if you look at behind the scenes, man, all these cats behind the scenes on 40 Acres and a Mule look like me and you. Yeah. The artistic directors, they were HBCU graduates. They were all those. That was all combined inside of Spike. That was his vision. Yeah. As he's gotten older, he knows okay, I got to dance with the big houses to get it theatrical release because nobody's gonna look at it. If you look at Malcolm X in '93 when he released Malcolm X, he had to deal with the big house because you had Denzel who was not on the way, he was already there. Yeah. Because his loyalty to Spike, he plays his character, and everybody around it. Of course, Spike Lee I think he got snuffed.
Yeah, he didn't get nothing.
I think he got snuffed, and I think that was the film he should have been. He should have got the Oscar for, as well as Denzel should have got the Oscar for as well. You know what I'm saying? So you talking about in '93 where there's a film, black film, that talks about a theatrical world release about Malcolm X, which is heavy. It's still '93. We're moving around, you know what I'm saying? We're doing our thing. It's do the right thing situation. It's, we're actually wearing the X hats. It's serious. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so we're like, oh man, this has got to do it. And I think Al Pacino won the Oscar that year, if I'm right.
What movie?
Was it Goodfellas? Is that '93?
Al Pacino wasn't in Goodfellas.
No, I'm sorry. Al Pacino won it, so I don't know what it was.
Okay.
Al Pacino won best actor.
It was
Scarface. It was one of those. I don't know, but I know he won it that year. Anyway, neither here or there. Yeah. We have to go back and say that Spike, that was his vision was to have everything black owned, black financed, and he financed, but I mean he ate up credit cards to do it. Yeah. And I think he used other folks' money to get where he had to go.
I don't think it's that uncommon because even in music, because when I was in the music or whatever, I always wondered why certain people, they seem like they have a vision, but nobody in business, nobody ever uses their own money. Right. And I don't know, and I'm saying this like I really don't know who or what other than like Oprah, Will Smith, have money out there to give to other black people, to like if you're looking for money. Because nobody uses their own money except like Spike Lee. That's a rare, and I think that make what Spike Lee who he is. You can tell he doesn't want nobody to compromise his vision because once you do accept money, and I think this kind of leans into what Ced's talking about. Once you do kind of almost, unless you have it ironclad, like, hey, I want your money, but not your opinion. Right. Usually, when you get someone money, you get their opinion with it. Yeah. And I'm not gonna bring that on camera. I was
gonna. Yeah, but I mean, just to go off of that, I was thinking about. Oh my gosh, I think I lost that thought. But with Spike and African Americans, I think the structure of how we've been taught to conduct business is different. Like when you say nobody starts their own film without some kind of money and stuff, but African Americans, especially like you look at like Money and Violence,
right?
That like it's like we have to go and prove ourselves first,
you know what I mean? On YouTube,
and then before like it's not like we can like I think people outside of our culture have been able to learn the Shark Tank approach of things to where they can draw up this vision and because they're because they're privileged, you can get backing on your vision. You know what I mean? But when you're black, you don't have that privilege. You have to go and work twice as hard. You have to go and prove yourself first.
I agree.
I think one reason for that, and I think that's becoming stuff like Black Panther and other stuff that's not necessarily black movies, but with black people felt like black people wasn't marketable. And I don't know why.
Why?
I don't know why, because we're the most influential people, definitely in America, probably in the world. But if, because I watch a lot of things, talk about movies or whatever, and you see how they market movies in other countries, and even talking to like other filmmakers like Nakia, talking to Chris, like people feel like black people aren't, or they felt like black people weren't marketable. So it might not even be their vision. It's just be like, well, we can't. There's like the people always felt like there was a ceiling to a black film or something or they thought only black people cared about black movies.
But see, back then, the foreign market didn't play a big deal. You know what I'm saying? Like now, man, foreign sales is crazy.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times now, man, they'll make a movie would be garbage here. I've seen it happen a lot. Well,
Pacific, what was that, the movie Pacific?
A whole
with the
bunch
big
of them, man.
road,
Yeah, they'll make
you
like
know.
30 million here, but overseas they'll make
China.
400 million. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying? Like now, like back like 30 years ago, foreign really wasn't popping like that. You know what I'm saying? So all you really had was just your domestic. You know what I'm saying? And VHS and all that stuff. But now, man, it's just expanded it. Now the foreign game is really become overshadowed a lot of times. You know, the domestic market now.
Right.
You know,
Didn't Kevin Hart do something with that as far as with the African Americans going overseas and starting to promote movies and stuff like that?
Yep.
When he did with that movie.
He was like, well, he was one of the ones that put it on my radar because he brought that up. Like he proved to them that hey, black people can't sell in other
Exactly.
markets,
Exactly.
Like,
And sell them out.
Right.
Sell
Yeah.
venues out. And when you talked about the ceiling, black folks support black film.
Yeah.
Sometimes even when they're garbage. We'll go
Yeah.
out.
Oh, yeah.
We'll go out. But Black Panther, we went 2-3 times for the weekend
yeah.
because we
we
had
went in groups.
we had a
Bought out
goal.
theaters.
It was
Right.
It was an event,
I was
man.
one
It was
as
an
far as-
event, man.
Exactly.
Yeah, it
As
was
far
great.
as the radio station was concerned.
People
Yeah,
dressed
yeah.
up like Wakanda.
Exactly.
You know, like-
We made it an event, but we need to do that for a bunch of films.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
We need to do that.
I
for a
thought,
bunch-
man, I wish. I really wish we would have did it for Nate Parker's joint, the birth of Nate. I went to see that three times.
But see,
Yeah.
I saw.
But you know, a lot of
I
a lot
brought
of
it.
stuff happened, around it, man. And I really thought we should have came out hard for that one.
Yes.
Yeah, that was definitely a good one. Nation.
Birth of a Nation.
Birth of a Nation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I brought it on DVD. I think that was around the same time we first started linking up.
Yeah.
But I felt like, and this is probably we could talk about conspiracies on a whole nother one if y'all come back. But I felt like there was definitely a conspiracy against that, because that was definitely I felt like a well done movie.
Yeah, I thought
and
it
it
was-
like I mean. I was just in the theater, me, my uncle, my niece,
Yeah.
and 2 old white folks. Only people in the theater.
I thought it was a great film, and folks knew it was going to be a great film that January when it went to Sundance. And when it stopped, when the film was over, and folks clapped, and he walked out of there, he already had a deal. Yeah. He had a deal for theatrical release walking out of the screening in Sundance. So the film was going to be good.
Yeah.
It was whether we were going to support it and how it was going to be released. And, because some people say, well, it might not come to Wilmington. Why should we ever have to ask that question?
Yeah.
Well, it might not come to Wilmington. We don't know. Like, we need a major release because pockets are folks going to, those pockets of areas or markets is where we're going to go watch the film because we want to see that. We want to see our story. We want to see someone that looks like us on the film, on the big screen.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm one of those people. Like, I've never went to go see a Tyler Perry movie in the theaters. Most of them I haven't seen. I don't really do the slavery movies. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I've never seen Amistad. I've never even seen the 12 Years a Slave. And I heard it was a great.
Django.
I saw
Django.
I'm a big Quentin Tarantino fan. Yeah. And I know,
Did that change your mind?
No, the Django is a great film. Like I really enjoyed it. Because I looked at that as a Tarantino film, not a slave movie, and it was more on the vibe like Nation, like Birth of a Nation, where it's empowering people against slavery. Like but it does have a lot of negative,
100%,
stuff. So, but it was a negative time. But and now I lost my train of thought. So don't watch Medea. Don't go see slave movies. And I don't know. Somebody take it up from there.
I'll say, man, about the Medea thing, man. Like, I seen a couple of Tyler Perry joints, man. Like, it's not my cup of tea. But I respect what he's done.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, he really
Especially
put
the
it.
compound he got.
Yeah, he really, man. People don't give him his credit, man, but he really kind of kickstarted that whole Atlanta film movement.
Yeah.
He was the only one that was doing it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Down there, him and the guys that did the Twa series. You know what I'm saying? Those guys, him, Tyler Perry, and those guys really kind of kickstarted that whole Atlanta film movement. You know what I'm saying? And but like I said, Tyler Perry, that's not my cup of tea. But I respect what he's done. He has his audience. It's like people like my grandmother.
He knows what he.
Yeah, like
he
people
goes
like my
in.
grandmother, right? She
Yeah.
never would go to the movie theater. Soon as Tyler Perry start dropping, man, she go anytime he drops something, she go see it.
Yeah, like he has his demographic on lock.
Right.
I watch a lot of things where they talk about the numbers. Usually he recruits his budget that opening weekend. So I'm definitely not knocking on it. I just personally I'm not into
Same here.
not into, and which I would love to have another conversation, but men. Dressing up as women.
And what's sad, man, is that he's actually a decent actor. Like when I saw him when he was on what's the joint, Gone Girl, and a few other joints, man, that's pretty decent.
And and the biggest thing for me is I was big on the plays, especially like when you had to like find them, like pretty much when bootleg was a big thing. Right. I love the plays, and the plays were close, but not close enough. Right. To the movies was too close, but too different than the plays. So that just kind of off. That was very off-putting. I felt like he lost a lot in the transition for me personally, and he lost. That's why I was just like,
For me, I didn't see a wide range of diversity within the range of his films. So it made me feel like if it is people watching outside of our culture, they like predictable. We might as well we need to do stereotypical films to get them to the theater, and that's one of the reasons why I didn't really like that culture that was pushed through that, but he definitely has done some amazing things.
But you right, said, because I used to think it was just us going to see, and then I started working around some other white folks, and then they were telling me they going to see Tyler Perry, and then they quoting the lines. Well, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? That just made me feel the way, man. I'm like, hold on,
right?
Yeah, it was. You know what I'm saying? Then I went. I think I went to see a Tyler Perry movie once, and I think majority of the people in there were white.
Laughing at us, like really, pretty much. And so this kind of goes back to the original thing of the question. Before Tyler Perry went Hollywood, and like you said, it was like a joy to get your hands on his plays. Right. That was technically black film, right? Like he distributed it, and black play, but when he distributed it, written, directed, and he distributed it on VHS film.
He did the James Brown situation. So basically, Tyler was going in. It was no promoter coming to him saying, we're going to bring your play. He was like, we're going to Dallas, Houston, Atlanta, L.A., and we're going to take these plays, and I'm going to buy the house. I'm going to get the house, and black bands, black actors, all of that. So that's what Tyler did. And then, once again, to go theatrically, and then world theatrically, to release it theatrically, he had to go to the big house and say, okay,
gatekeeper.
I want to send this out.
And it was a trip is that, because, Lionsgate gave him that shot. Back then, Lionsgate was just doing low budget films.
Right.
And did Lionsgate do Paid in Full?
I think they did. But on they were doing the low budget type of stuff. But man, it's like even with that, man, they don't give Tyler Perry, even though he was doing a lot of cool stuff. But he really took him to the next level. Now they don't even do the low budget stuff no more. They doing Hunger Games.
They're major.
They doing Hunger Games. They done bought Stars Network. You know what I'm saying? They killing it now.
Right.
They're not even doing the low budget under $5 million no more stuff. You know what I'm saying?
But they still get money with black people.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because Stars is definitely Power, 50 Cent.
Yeah.
One other thing, I think we still got more time that I've noticed or I'd love to get your opinion on, and especially you said, because I feel like Chris. I just feel like Chris and Brandon are closer to my age, so you're of a younger generation. When you
I'm around.
You know what I mean? Like black, and I'm saying black movies, not your definitions, but I feel like other than Medea, what are like the newer school movies talking about black people? Like, cause when we were younger, we had like Juice. Right. We had I can't think of Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society. I feel like the Woods definitely. The first person to put North Carolina on the map.
Exactly.
I'm from North Carolina. I don't know about no gangs. Like I don't feel like those movies are a thing, or I don't know if I'm just missing those. Like what are those like? I wouldn't say necessarily like hood films or whatever, but movies growing up in like a black area.
Well, we have that now, and it's kind of funny. Before I go to answer your question, when y'all was talking about comic books, I was like, I got it. I got in when comic books was kind of fading away a little bit. You know what I'm saying? They started to do the little cartoon on the TV thing, and anyways, so I get it, y'all big homies, but Yeah, but with the new day and age now with black films, like it's funny that you brought up. We talked about The Wood because it's a movie now called Dope, which is like you know what I mean. If you keep up with it, if it's like
almost a
it's like
spinoff.
a spinoff, and it's passing on, continue to pass on that culture of that history, and then I feel like now instead of like we had to go find like the Tyler Perry's through like VHSs and DVDs and bootlegs. Right. I mean, you got the internet, your YouTube. Like we talked about it earlier, like Money and Violence. All of those shows that come out now, like YouTube, and then. Not only that, I mean, like right now, the new season of The Chi is about to start. You know what I mean? And so it's content out there.
Insecure.
And Netflix is a big Netflix is a big platform for it too. And it's kind of funny because I want to talk about Netflix when you talked about how the foreign industry is getting more like it seems like every good film that gets recommended through Netflix is in London, and it's like one of the hoodest films. Right. You know what I mean? And then
the block.
Right, like Top Boy, and I'm like, yo, these dudes, and now like as I'm keeping up with the films, like they're actually getting in bigger and better films, and then the one girl is in Black Panther. Yeah, like the Black Panther, his sister or she's in Top Boy, and I was like, oh shoot, like I felt like
she was in Black Mirror.
Like I felt like when Gucci Man went commercial.
2018, she is the highest. Well, not her personally, but she was the highest grossing actress or actor because she was in Black Panther, she was in Avengers, right? And she was in like another. She was in what's the movie the virtual reality movie? Real Player One or Ready Player One, and then she was in a couple other ones because Avengers and Black Panther alone, those were two of the biggest movies in the world, and then you throw up something like Ready Player One, so she was in the biggest movie, like the movies she was in, pretty much beat anybody else. The total.
And she had 4 on her belt.
Yeah, basically, and then those 2 alone. But you throw that, but side note, black people
started at Top Boy though, man. That's a crazy,
I think, man. I know for me, I think documentary has been really popping. The past few years, and I will always say, Tariq Nasheed when he did Hidden Colors. That really it opened the door for people like myself, man, because before Hidden Colors, man, people like. Black people really wasn't making no money with documentaries like that, man. Like documentaries really wasn't our thing. Right. He kind of opened the door, man, and really showed us like how you can really get your stuff out there, and really, showing, empowering, images as well. Right. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I think Tariq, what he's done with Hidden Colors, that whole series, has changed the game on the documentary level. I agree. You know what I'm saying? And it's all black. You know what I'm saying? He distributes his own stuff and everything.
The thing I like about documentaries is that it opens people up to the stories. Right. And then following documentaries is those full feature films and stuff like that. Right. And that's why I love Hidden Colors. And that's just because like we keep talking about these black films and we always talk about like the culture of like African American, but we still haven't gotten to that point where we're looking for where we start talking about those African kings and queens tales and stories. I mean, Black Panther touches on it a little bit, but it comes from a, science fiction type of, you know what I mean? And so, but to actually have real stories, king, queen stories and stuff like that of like before this whole boat migration travel thing happened, you know what I mean?
What was going on?
Like a proper Shaka Zulu film.
Exactly.
Like that.
A reboot of that would probably be amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So, I mean, you talk about documentaries. I know a lot of people get buzzed and stuff like independently and stuff like that with like film festivals. Yeah. Like Brandon, I know you're part of a film festival. You want to give us a little bit of information on the
shameless plug. North Carolina Black Film Festival is March 21st through the 24th. We have over about 50 films that we're going to screen, a lot being shorts. We do have some docs, some great docs, one being Black Beach, White Beach. And
you're a producer,
executive produced that.
On that. Yeah. We have some features as well. We have something Unarmed Man by Harold Jackson III, who actually won one of our awards. So we're excited about it. And you see a lot of black film through the festival circuit, and that's where a lot of things come from. And we always say this. One of the very first films from Ava DuVernay we screened here, and we gave her the Emerging Filmmaker Award before Ava DuVernay was Ava DuVernay. She came in and said, okay, this is cool. I like this festival. It was very niche. I like it. I like the hospitality. I enjoyed myself here. And we actually screened her film at Screen Gems.
Which film was it?
I forgot.
Was
the
it
name.
I Will Follow?
I Will Follow. Is that the one about the prison?
Oh no,
No,
that was a Middle
13th.
of Nowhere.
Middle of Nowhere.
Yeah, Middle of Nowhere.
So we showed
She did
Middle of
13th
Nowhere.
too, right?
Yeah,
On
she
Netflix.
did.
That was later. That's after she
Yeah.
became
This after,
big.
but
That's when she was huge.
This-
Then.
Right.
this-
We're
I'm
talking about
I'm
before
not as
that.
enlightening as y'all,
And
bro.
then when she came, though, the big thing about it, when she came, she said, look, we're starting a platform through this situation called ABFF, American Black Film Festival, where you can get when you come to our film festival, we're going to show your film festival in a big house, like an AMC theater. So you can have that credit. And from there, she took off. So you're talking about Ava DuVernay now getting the funding from Oprah and whoever else it might be to shoot big films, not just Netflix. I mean, huge films. And I think that was a big situation for her. But she was on the Black Film Festival circuit, and I think that's good. I think Chris can attest to.
I was just about to ask Chris, as a
being on the
black film
circuit,
director,
film
with
circuit.
Wilmington
I'm
on
not even gonna say
Fire.
black film. I'm just gonna say
A film.
festival circuit. Period.
Yeah. So what's it?
Yeah.
What do you think of just the film circuit, and specifically since we got it coming up, the Black Film Festival, like the importance of that?
Yeah, it's very important, man. It's not the same as it was 30 years ago. And I think a lot of filmmakers need to know, that it's not the same, but they're still effective. You know what I'm saying? Like what Brandon was saying, making these connections and really getting your work out there is key. I think a lot of filmmakers think that they're going to come to a festival, any festival, and think they're going to get a distribution deal. That ain't happening. You know what I'm saying? Like even with Sundance, a lot of the deals you see now coming out of Sundance, those deals are already made before they even screen the film. You know what I'm saying? Like Sundance don't even really give out a lot of deals like that no more. They seem like it, but those deals are already made before the festival even started. So like me, what we did with Wilmington on Fire, we did a mixture. I think, people should do a mixture of both, doing the festivals and also doing your own screenings. That's why I don't really like Tyler Perry's movies, but I try to use his model when he was doing his plays. Getting on, pretty much the Chitlin circuit type of style, where we would rent the venues, patting them joints out, build a buzz, and we did that like the first year for Wilmington on Fire, doing that plus film festivals. And then after that, festivals started hitting us up. You know what I'm saying? Because the word just got around, and I haven't really set up a Wilmington on Fire screening in like 3 years. Like all these screenings you see me constantly doing the past 2 or 3 years have been people hitting us up. You know what I'm saying?
And it's been like that, and I can speak from a programming
Yeah.
perspective where they hit you up and say, hey, I see we all screen Wilmington on Fire. It won at the North Carolina Black Film Festival. Can we get a contact?
Yeah.
Chris, we were like, here you go. Here's his email. Send, hit him up. And then someone else at another festival say, hey,
Right.
you think he would come? Here's his email. So we time to turn it over there. And that's where the film starts circulating like, wow. And then
it's doing a combination of both. I think some filmmakers, they just want to just do the festival and that's it. I always tell them, man, do it both. You know what I'm saying? Find festivals that fit your niche. Because a lot of times, like, I work at Full Frame, and we're kind of like the Sundance of documentaries. We show like the best in the world. Like recently at the Oscars in the documentary category, all those docs, we showed them last year. That's how, the best, we show the best, period, hands down. But a lot of filmmakers get mad, if their documentary doesn't get in a festival. I said, look, man, even my joint wouldn't get in. You know what I'm saying? It ain't on that certain level, you know what I'm saying? But you don't let that deter you, you know what I'm saying? There's still other ways. If you got a following in your town or your city or in a certain area, you rent a spot, you make the money, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And keep it going and let the film festivals come at you, you know what I'm saying? And you build a buzz. It's just like, just building your own following, man. And don't try to, get mad if, a film festival can only program so much. Yeah, right. You know how that is. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I think a lot of filmmakers take it personal sometimes when they can't get into a festival. It's not the end of the world because, like Sid was saying, the internet has really changed the game. You know what I'm saying? Of really not only showing your film, but marketing your film. Like how we did Wilmington on Fire. I didn't live in a big city. I did all that living in Laurinburg. You know what I'm saying? I just utilized the internet, living in small town, rural America. You know what I'm saying? Making connections, getting the word out, setting up things, you know what I'm saying? So I think people need just need to do a combination of both, you know what I'm saying? Because I think it's a good lane to do it yourself, but also take advantage of the film festival circuit as well.
All right. And then, so Sid, before we close out of here, like I know you said you do a lot of footwork for the film festival. Me personally, surprised. I've never been to one. As just a patron, someone going like, what's someone who's not actually necessarily in the business? What's someone like? What kind of things did you get from going? 'Cause I'm assuming that you've been to a film festival.
I've been to a few film festivals actually, and for me, I love being able to. It's for those folks that. It's like for your folks that stand in line for those new pair of J's, the folks that stand in line when the new iPhones coming out. You can have that. You get that exclusive. Man, I saw that. Like right now, everybody's going crazy about Red Cape. You know what I mean? And
Right.
And like I was like, man, I saw that 3 years ago at Cucamon's Film Festival.
Yep.
It's just little moments like that is big to me personally. One of the reasons why I like to go to films, I like to get on films early and kind of see what a culture is and what the temperature is for what people are making content around. And then it's great networking if, me having a theater background and stuff like that, if you want to get into some films and stuff like that and actually meet filmmakers and meet the movers and shakers that actually make it happen, for a lot of folks, especially in Wilmington when, the film industry was what it was here. That was a great back doorway to get introduced to folks and stuff like that when you really couldn't actually get on set or get on scenes and stuff like that. It's a great space to really maneuver. And then when I had the Cucamon's Film Festival, I had a Pegasaurus pass. So I'm in the filmmakers lounge with the filmmakers. I'm in the volunteer lounge with the volunteers. And so, it's those kind of benefits. And then just seeing that black essence, because as you say, when we go to the big theaters, it's like we only got a certain selection and stuff like that. Right. So to see that it is still people striving, it is still people making that step towards that and controlling our own content is big and it's important. So it's almost like it's like a difference when you're watching like amateur or college teams compared to when you're watching pros. That young guy that's trying to get on the team and get into that position, they're going at it a little bit differently than this is the 10th season, you know what I mean, and I don't got to worry about it no more. So I like seeing that, like how the grind is like that mixtape, that raw feeling.
Yes, definitely mixtape situation,
and definitely, man, like for like the Black Film Festival, people out there definitely attended because it means a lot to filmmakers when people come and admire their work. You know what I'm saying? It really means a lot. 'Cause a lot of times, man, doing these films is tough. You put all your money and energy into it. So, when people like Cedric and others come and, and really admire what you're doing and, it really makes it all worthwhile, you know what I'm saying? And keeps the filmmaker motivated to either continue with their screenings or to develop more work as well.
Yeah. All right, so let's wrap it up. So go around. Go ahead and make sure you shout out your social media, any other things that you want to put out there.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, North Carolina Black Film Festival, March 21st to the 24th. You can follow us on Facebook at the North Carolina Black Film Festival. You can follow me on Instagram. I'm BIGGB1906. And you can find out what's going on in Wilmington in black film through there. And we're excited, man. We're just going to continue to push the culture.
All right. Chris?
Well, we have a film festival coming up, Full Frame Documentary Film Festival, downtown Durham, NC, April 4th through the 7th. We show some of the best documentaries in the world. So if you like docs, come through. Fullframefest.org is the website. Also, Wilmington on Fire is still out. Go to wilmingtononfire.com, get a copy of the DVD or the digital download. And we also got the Grandmaster martial arts documentary. Should be out by the end of the year. So let's go on.
All right, and where can people find you
at? Speller Street Films on Facebook, Speller Street on Twitter, and Speller Street Films on Instagram.
Okay.
You can always find me somewhere near social media. My platform is Support City Said on Instagram. That's support, and then City, then Said, CED. And then you can always find Support the Port. We're Support the Port on every platform, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, Support the Port. And then also we have our biggest event of the year is coming up on April 6th, our Stop the Violence, Start the Peace rally. It's our 4th annual one. We're expecting over 2,000 people this year, 2 electric stages, all kind of activities, and just great community fun and networking. And then also on March 29th, I got a TED Talk. So
congrats.
Working on that right now, and so that's what we got coming up. And then March March 30th, the day after my TED Talk, we have a book reading of Wilmington, North Carolina in color. And just to back up, I know we got to wrap up, but just to back up what you were saying about actual films and going to push it and stuff like that, I was trying to get my book, get the African American history in public schools, and it was hard getting it to get checked off by the board because there's nobody that looks like us on the Board of Education.
Yeah.
So we had to set up our own platforms, go and book our own shows with churches and schools and after school programs to get this very, very valuable information out to people that look like us, and don't look like us. That's interesting.
And me, Louis T, Inquisitive Mind of Louis T. Also, make sure you check out, probably about a week after this drops, we got a very more in-depth interview. It's actually 2 years old, but it's still relevant today with Mr. Chris Everett. If you're lucky, it might be like a little link in the bio, so look on the comments. And we talk about his movie more in depth, Wilmington on Fire, which you should definitely get. It's a very great documentary. Also, I got those DVDs in my trunk too. If you know, for those lazy people that don't want to go to the internet, but
Or non-tech savvy people.
Mostly those. So, all right. But I want to thank each and every one of y'all. Y'all, like I say, y'all my brothers. I talk to most of y'all on a fairly regular basis. If I would love to have y'all back. I got a couple other topics I would like to run across y'all. But yeah, make sure y'all support. Sponsors. We're definitely looking for them. Make sure you share. Make sure you hit subscribe. Inquisitive Mind of Louis T. We got Inquisitive IMoLT podcast on Instagram. Inquisitive Mind of Louis T or IMoLT on Facebook. We got a SoundCloud somewhere out there now, and I'm gonna stop procrastinating. We're gonna be on like streaming stuff, so we can try to have the audio available as well. But the main source, YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe. Find us on our YouTube. Just look up IMoLT. Thank y'all. This is the Inquisitive Mind of Louis T. Black Cinema.
Something that people ask me all the time is, what is one thing they can do that will better their career in film? What I tell people is to just help people. If you go to a film set, look for a need, look for a weakness, and fulfill that need and weakness to the best of your ability. When you do that, two things will happen. The first thing that will happen is the production value will go up. The second thing that will happen is you will become more valuable. When you're not there, they will notice that, because when you are there, the value of the production goes up. A good example is Roger Christian. He started off just making tea on set, and I think he was making 250 cups of tea or coffee a day. But because he stuck with that and fulfilled that need, now today we have the iconic lightsaber on Star Wars, probably the most popular movie prop in film history, simply because he stuck with it and fulfilled a need. On March 30th in Wilmington, North Carolina, I'm hosting a film conference called Let's Make a Movie Conference. We are only selling limited tickets. We're going to show you how to find an audience and understand the audience. We're going to show you how to write a script fast. We're going to have activities for that, because we just don't want to give you the information. When you leave, we want to make sure you're able to execute what we gave you. Then the second half of the day, we're going to film a short film. You'll be able to choose to be a director, writer, or an actor, or work on crew. I will edit it. I'll send it out. We'll list it on IMDb, so you'll get IMDb credit, and you'll be able to take the film yourself and do whatever you want to do with it. It's March 30th in Wilmington, North Carolina. Go to eventbrite.com to get your tickets right now.
Yeah.